So it's been a year since I started my OF and my spicy pages, and I just feel super anxious today, and I wanted to just come on here.
Buckle your seatbelts, boys. We're in for story time. The day in the life of an OF model who is now all of a sudden starting to regret her very bad life decisions. And let's see who she blames it on. 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count. Let's go.
I wanted to just come on here and share some thoughts on my experience so far. I'm kind of scared to share my actual thoughts, but I just feel the need to say them in case anybody who's following me here has any sort of desire to start this kind of thing. I want to start off by saying that I definitely have a really complicated relationship with this whole thing, and there are things that I appreciate about it and have appreciated about it from the beginning, but if I'm being so honest, there really are so many downsides. I'm trying so hard not to get like super upset while sharing this, but if I'm being honest, my mental health since I've started this has just slowly like been on such a decline. And I would say that it started maybe like honestly probably 7 months ago, where about like maybe 6 months into doing this, about 6 months, I started to get super burnt out. And while I did have such a strong start and it was so much fun in the beginning, after getting burnt out, I started to just feel really differently about like the types of messages that I was getting, and just feeling like sort of the effort that I was putting in to it still wasn't, I guess I'm trying to say there's no amount of money really that you can give me at this point, and I'm like willing to admit this now. There's no amount of money that you can give me right now to like make me feel like giving myself away in certain aspects, even if they're just a few photos or whatever online. It almost isn't worth it anymore. It's hard to describe this because I realize that when I have spoken about OF, that, you know, it's typically been in a light where it's like, you know, it's fun, it's art, you make money, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm being so honest, that really is like the only upside to doing it. Like just the ability to very quickly make extra cash. But I think again, like just over the course of a few months of like half a year or so, just going really hard at it, I think I didn't let a lot of like the messages get to me, but I was lying to myself, and I definitely think that it's like really worn on me over time.
Now who saw that coming? Who would have thought that putting yourself for sale on the internet in this 21st century remix of the world's oldest profession would cause you all types of mental stress and anguish? Who would have thought that chasing that fast money would have some slow ass consequences? You know, Jesus warned us. What does it profit a man, or a woman in this case, to gain the whole world and yet lose their soul? What's the point of making all that money? What's the point of buying all those purses and shoes and whatever else stupid women love to buy with that fast money if the only thing left behind when you finish is wreckage, both in the lives of the folks around you who used to care about you, who can probably no longer affiliate with you, as well as the wreckage in between your own ears. This is what happens when you only focus on the first half and you don't think long term. I'm gonna let her finish.
It's not to say that I don't have like really good guys on there following me and like monetarily supporting me, even like checking in on me at times where I like, you know, earlier this year I definitely disappeared for a few months, even on here. But even with that, like just realizing that even those people are not people that I would call when I'm having a really hard day just makes it feel just so fake. And I'm not sitting here saying that like I ever got on there to make friends. Let's be honest, it's really just to make money from a bunch of horny men. But I guess I'm just trying to say that just know that if you are a person who's ever been interested in doing this, or if you've like ever been curious about it, there really is just like such a, like I feel a little bit dead inside. I feel completely desensitized, and I don't know, like not to sound funny, but I really don't feel any type of like desire or like attraction to men in general anymore. And that's also because of my personal collective experiences that I've had with like dating like the wrong types of men and things like that.
It took us a while, but we finally got here. To hear her tell it, the reason why she's showing her chocolate cyclops all over the internet is because she's had some bad relationships in the past. fellas, and shout out to all my Asian subscribers. Shout out to you guys, man. I got love for y'all, especially you guys down in India. According to analytics, you guys really rock with me real tough down there on the subcontinent. Salute to you guys. But the world's worst kept secret is that Asian women, especially, well, I'll get to that in a second, but Asian women, the worst kept secret in the world is that they love men with Caucasian features. They love Chad. They love Brad. Right behind that is us, the brothers. But they love us for different reasons. See, Asian women look at a lot of white men, not all, but a lot of Asian women, especially those who've been westernized, won't even date within their own race. They'll date out because in their mind, it's a two-part equation. If they date a white man, that's effectively a status symbol to other Asian women, most specifically within their own community. And for those who date black men, they look at us as a straight-up stallion, monster in the bedroom, piping them down, breaking them off. I learned that back in the Navy, completely by accident, by the way women would respond to us when we were overseas. It was crazy. Like, wow, man. And they can't be dissuaded from it. This chick is obviously Asian. I forget her name. I think Kimchi Princess or something like that. I'm not even trying to look into it, because if that is true, kimchi is a traditionally South Korean dish, so that may very well be the community she's a part of. She's obviously westernized because you can't hear a touch of a little pinch of accent from her. So she's obviously entirely westernized. And the reason why she's trying to blame what she's doing on the men she's been involved with is because, as she mentioned, she's desensitized. You can't get ran through that many times, that often, and have anything close to the ability left to pair bond. This woman looks to be in her early to mid 20s, fellas. She eats right, works out. She might live to be 100. Imagine living another 80 straight years. And the best you can do is just lay there and get piped down, but you can never connect with someone on an emotional level. 8 decades from now, she'll still be empty inside because of what she did today for a few quick dollars. That, as her own testimony gives us, is driving her crazy. She talks about the people in her life. You know what? I'm gonna let her get back to it.
But I think with this line of work, you will never catch a man being more honest and more authentic and more real, and not necessarily in a good way, than they are, and the way that they present themselves to girls who do stuff that I do. I can't even imagine what it's actually like for real life SWs. Like, I'm sure it's like 50,000 times worse for them. Like, at least to a certain extent, there's like a level of protection for me, just given that I'm like behind a screen, right? Like, I'm never actually gonna like see these guys in person or anything like that. But like, seriously, if I had any type of ability to share like the things that people have said, like the things that people have like the nerve to like DM me with, just like how disgusting they are. And also, I can't even count to you how many times the ones who follow me on Instagram, like when I get curious and nosy sometimes, like I'll go look at their profile and they have like a whole girlfriend or a whole wife. And sometimes, even disgustingly enough, they have kids. Sometimes it makes me feel so conflicted with doing this. And a part of me just feels so prideful. Like, I feel like yes, it's been a year, not like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but I do still feel like I'm still so deep in it. And I think I'm just being prideful, but I just feel like, and I just don't want to quit, because I'm just not a quitter. Like, I always see things like to the very end, and I won't quit until I'm physically stopped. This being like my one creative outlet to like, or so I thought, to like express myself and like produce this work that like, I'm really proud of. I do take a lot of time to go like rent these spaces and like get like certain types of outfits and like our lingerie really, and like do these shoots and like post them, and like editing is like a whole process. And like, there are lots of parts that I enjoy, but I think what ruins it is like when I really sit down to think about like ultimately like what the purpose of all this is. And it's really just to visually please a bunch of men who, again, a lot of them are disgusting. I've been sort of exploring the idea of maybe just having my content be focused on, things that I'm actually interested in, which ultimately is not pleasing men in any way, shape, or form. Like, y'all can keep your money.
Here we go with those secondhand consequences, fellas. The problem she's having is pot calling the kettle black syndrome. This is when two people, or in her case, herself and the group of guys who pay for her content, look in the mirror at each other, and they don't like what they see because they deserve each other. They realize they're both bottom of the barrel individuals. And I'll start with her. This young lady, in my opinion, certainly qualifies as attractive. I date her. I smash. But the problem is, she's chosen the path of the gutter woman, the woman who chooses to use her sensuality, her sexuality for the quickest possible dollars. She's not making this money because she's so bright. She's not making this kind of money because she's feeding the homeless or clothing the naked. No, she's out here being naked, making money that way. It's the lowest common denominator. Any female can do it. It's something that's closed off to most men unless they're in Mr. Olympia or Mr. Universe level physical condition. And the thing is, you've commoditized yourself. You're calling these men disgusting when you, in the eyes of real men, in the eyes of the men you want and that you are attracted to, are the worst of all of our options. You are the worst of all of our options because at the end of the day, it's all going to come back to how you represent us. Imagine you a guy of means or you're a guy that's an up and comer and you meet this girl and she don't tell you she's doing this because she knows what would happen if she did. So she hides it from you and you tell her to put a nice dress on because you got a business meeting and the guys are all bringing their plus ones. This meeting, if it goes well, could lend some serious business contacts that could set you up for life, for wealth, for generational wealth, if that's indeed your goal. And you walk in that room with these guys, and again, you don't know what these guys are into when they're not around you. Guys into some freaky stuff out here. So you walk in the room with this girl, and she's all dressed up, hair done, makeup done, the whole 9 yards. You walk in there, and 2 or 3 or 5 of the guys who are there are subscribed. Now they're looking at you crazy. They're looking at you as wondering, why would you commit yourself to a chick like this? Bruh, you paying her fucking bills, buying her clothes, taking her on dates, taking her on trips. Meanwhile, I can press a button on my phone on my laptop and for $3.99, less than the cost of a quarter pounder with cheese, I can see every square inch of her body and I ain't got to take her nowhere. I can press, download and save it on my hard drive. I can rewatch her over and over again. Meanwhile, your ass is putting up with her attitude. Your ass is putting up with all the things that come with a relationship. And I can press one button and get all I need from her. They gonna look at your ass crazy, bro. And you just might have sabotaged your situation of doing business with these multimillionaires to set you up for success forever. All because you chose poorly. Bro, when a woman commoditizes herself, she really doesn't have a leg to stand on to call the men who are the commodity, or at least paying for it, are getting what they want. All she had to do was get a real job. Or, with her looks, at her age, this deep into her fertility window, all she had to do is be a submissive wife to a young man who cared about her, give her a decent, honorable life. But no, that fast money, that showing your ass money, that's what kind of time these girls are on. But somehow it's our fault as men that they feel bad about doing it when they finish. It's fucking crazy, man.
At this point, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Ooh, I know. Pick me. I know what you're going to do. You're going to do what so many other Western women do after making so many bad decisions. Decisions that bring dishonor to your family, cause them to disown you. You can't go back home. You're going to get on the internet and cry about it. Instead of sitting on a therapist's couch and taking the medication they prescribe. You're going to come up here and blame everybody else for your fuck-ups but yourself. And then somehow, at the end of the day, you're going to finally self-reflect once you crash face first into that wall and ask, where have all the good men gone? Well, they've gone overseas to see women who look just like you, who behave nothing like you. Think about it. She even said herself that the guys who, you know what, I'm going to let her say it in her own words. Roll the clip.
And it's not to say that I don't have like really good guys on there following me and like monetarily supporting me, even like checking in on me at times where I earlier this year I definitely disappeared for a few months, even on here. But even with that, like just realizing that even those people are not people that I would call when I'm having a really hard day just makes it feel just so fake.
There you go. All that validation. All those, I don't even know how they communicate only you know where. I don't even know how they do it. I'm guessing it's probably something along the lines of how live streaming happens, where the request pop up on the screen maybe and she looks at it and somebody tells her she wants her to do something and then she does it for the cash. I am not certain. No OF chick has ever gotten a dime of my money. But I will say this. If that's the kind of system they have over there and these guys are making requests of her for the cash and she doesn't say no because she needs the money or just wants it, this is all your fault. All these guys, these so-called good guys who you said in your own words a few minutes ago, you would never meet them in real life. Think about it. You're the kind of guy that would spend the kind of money on a female you're never going to see. She has no desire to see you. Even if you're asking her how she's been, how's her day going? We ain't seen you in a couple months. Are you okay? She sees you as fake anyway. Fellas, we got to do better. We have got to do better than this. And I understand guys are lonely. We're in the middle of an epidemic. I hear that. But my point is, fellas, she just said a moment ago that she has too much pride to stop doing what she's doing. She feels like crap. Her family's probably disowned her because Asian families do not play that shit. Even if they have been here for a couple of generations. The OGs, grandma, granddad, aunties, uncles, mom and dad, they are not playing this game. You do this, you can't come home. And that's what kind of time she's on. She's all alone for this. And I say it like this and I'm going to wrap it up. She said she has to be physically restrained, like she's being handcuffed and taken into custody before she stops showing her body on the internet. Well, okay. Resign her to her fate, gentlemen. Any woman like her, leave her over there. And if you just gotta smash because the opportunity presents itself, fantastic, do your thing, wear a rubber. Because latex saves paychecks. That said, that's my time. Like the video, comment down below. Share with a friend and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Networkers, we working. Until next time.